Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. We're going to do a reformer to mat style class today. It's going to be really fun. We're going to use the small ball. Don't worry if you have never been on a reformer before, because I'm going to adapt all the exercises to make them accessible to do at home on the mat. So make sure you're looking after yourself and you've got everything you need, and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start in standing. Come to the back of your mat. I just want you to put your ball between your ankles, so it helps with some alignment here. And we're just going to stand down into our feet, lift up through the body, and just begin by taking a deep breath in, warming up through the arms, the ribs, the shoulders as you stretch overhead. And then just let the arms softly come down. I'm going to take this into a roll down, so we're going to reach up. And then this time, as you breathe out, just start to roll over the legs, bone by bone. Seeing how that back's feeling today, and then just let the arms continue to just hang down as you roll back up again. So having that ball between the ankles really helps with some inner thigh connection. Just continue, we'll do 2 more here. So the arms go up, and then as you bring them down, you're going to roll down towards your ball and just feel the back and the hamstrings just stretching out there. And then just restack your posture. We'll do 1 more. We're going to stay over this time. So bring the arms up, try and touch the ceiling, the sky, and then just start to roll over the legs. And just keeping that ball there between the ankles, we're just going to take a little bend and stretch. So bend in the knees and stretching. So just checking in with the hamstrings, how they're feeling. So just take it nice and easy to begin with here. Using your breath. Couple more. And then just keep the knees slightly soft as you start to roll back up all the way. And bringing your head all the way up last. Good, so let's get going into our routine. So we're going to start with as if we were going to do legs in straps on the reformer. So don't worry if you've never been on a reformer before. If you have, then you might be quite familiar with the terminology that I'm using. We're just going to lift the pelvis up and roll your ball under your sacrum. And if it doesn't feel comfortable with the ball under the sacrum, you can always just put your pelvis flat on the mat. And we're just going to bring our legs up now to our tabletop position, and then bring our feet together and our knees apart. But what you want to do, and what feels really nice with the ball on the pelvis, is bring your knees in quite close. So you get quite a hip hinge here. And you have to use your arms quite a lot because it can feel a little bit wobbly. So we're going to start with a frog press. You're going to squeeze the heels together and just press the legs all the way out and away. And then draw them back in as close as you can towards you. So you get this really great range of movement through the hips, the knees, and you have to stabilize with your trunk. So we're going to do 8 of these, reaching all the way out with the legs and pulling back in. 4 more. So this is where you would start, and imagine that your legs are in those reformer straps and you're finding that resistance as you push out through the legs. Now on the last one, we're going to hold them in and we're going to do hold them out and we're going to do lift and lower. So we lift the legs up to feel the hamstring length, and we lower the legs down to where you can with control. Good. So the legs lift up and lower down. And you're trying to keep the pelvis really stable, the heels super glued together. And we do an 8 of each again. And trying to keep the bottom floating ribs on the mat. Good. Now we're going to go into leg circles. So we're going to not go too wide, just about the width of the mat, and then just circle the legs together and up. So you're doing small little circles around. Controlling the movement there. 4 in each direction for these. It's going to start to feel a little bit shaky in your inner thighs. Good. Inhale as you lower. Exhale as you reach around and up. Good. Last one. And then finally, the scissors. So first of all, just bring one leg as close towards you as you can. So as if you're going to touch the floor behind you. And then see if the other leg can start to reach down. Good. And then bring it back to the start. So you start like that, nice and slow. So bring one leg close towards you as you can. And then lower the other leg as far away from you as you can. And then you make it a little bit quicker. So you scissor the legs, and back, and scissor, and back. Good. And then if you want to challenge this and advance it even more than this, you don't stop in the middle. You just scissor them continuously. So you go from one scissor and then you switch to the other leg and change. And change. Good. I did say this was the final one, but I do want to do one more exercise in this section. We're going to do a bicycle action. So you're going to just bend at the knees and then change and then scissor. So you bend to change and scissor. Bend to change and scissor. Good. So it's a little bit of coordination. And then we're going to reverse it from there. Four more. Good. Last one. And then just hug the knees in. And place your feet down and just lift your hips up and just roll the ball out and let your pelvis just settle. And then we're going to move on to our short box series. Well, that's what it's called on the reformer, and we're going to do a similar thing here. So you're going to put the ball right behind your pelvis, almost like you're kind of sitting on it a little bit. So you're going to, and if it moves away, then you can just bring it back. And we're going to bring the legs out. So if you were on the reformer, you'd be sitting on the box and your feet would be under the strap. And we're going to start with the hands, one forearm over the other forearm. And you're going to create a rounded back into the ball. And then you're going to re-stack up. So you go for a rounded back into the ball. And then you re-stack up. And this arm position is quite challenging compared to what you might have done before, where your arms are just straight out like this, because they feel a little bit sort of heavier. And it can really feel quite a stretch on your shoulders as well. Good. So you're just rounding back into the ball, supporting the back and coming back up. Next, we're going to do a flat back. So you're going to bring the arms up and then behind your head. Now, instead of rounding, you do a flat back. So you hinge from the hips into the ball and then you come back up. Hinge from the hips and you come back up. And what you want to try to avoid is doing too much of an arch or rounding. So trying to keep as long and neutral through that spine as you can as you take that hinge back. And then all the way up and then back and then up. So it's working that outer range of your abdominals, trying to keep this relationship between the hips and the ribs. Last one before we add what we call the twist. So you're going to start by twisting to one side, and then you're going to do the flat back, hinge back, come up, and then center. Twist to the other side, and then that flat back, hinge back, come up, and center. Good. So I'm going to exhale to rotate, inhale to hinge back, exhale to come up, inhale to twist to the front. Good. So you want to feel as though you're shooting out on that diagonal. It's one of those exercises that is a lot more challenging than it looks, because you're really having to control your body. Good. And well done. Whew, well done, guys. Have a little rest. And we're going to do an exercise now called climb a tree. So we're going to bring it around the front. And this is still part of the short box series, but we're going to bring the ball around and just place it between our thighs. So we haven't got that ball behind us now, so we do have to use a little bit more control and center. So we're going to bring our right leg up, but you're going to still hold the ball there. So you're going to still hold the ball there between the legs. You're going to bring your right leg up, and you're going to see if you can just stretch the right leg out. So I'm just going to hold on to the leg for a moment with the ball between the thighs, and I'm squeezing in on that ball. Good. And then we're just going to start to point and flex through the ankle. So keeping my back a little bit rounded. Good. You're going to point and flex, working through the joint of the ankle and squeezing in. See, I forgot there. So I'm going to keep squeezing in on that ball. Good. And then place that foot down. Good. Sit back upright. And then round the back again. This time stretch the left leg out. Keep squeezing in on the ball. Hold the leg. And then see if you can keep squeezing in on the ball as you take the point and flex through the ankle. Excellent. And the idea is that you keep everything square to the front. Really good. Keep squeezing the ball. And then place that foot down and restack up. Now you're going to take the ball underneath your right leg, like this. So sort of in between the joint of the knee, right underneath there. Good. And we're going to start to roll down to the mat. So we're going to hold the front of the shin, find that rounded C-curve spine, and then see if you can roll down to the mat, all the way down, and just let your body lay flat. And if you were on the reformer, you'd be more in like a back bend here into the gap of the reformer. And then we're going to roll up. So this is the challenging bit. You're going to nod your chin to your chest, and you can add a little bit of momentum up and then sit nice and tall at the top. We'll do 2 more. So roll it down, find that rounded C-curve. Try not to twist. And then you just let your body release and relax over. And then you're going to come up. So you're going to nod your chin. And you're going to squeeze the ball and see if you can round up, 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 up. And sit nice and tall. We've got 1 more to go. This work is really challenging. So just breathe. If you feel that it's not happening today, that's completely fine. You can always just come back to this routine and give it a go another time. And sit nice and tall. And then the last bit of this sequence is we're just going to take the ball and we're just going to see if we can stretch the leg and the ball out. Tap the ball to the foot and then other side. Good. So we're adapting these reformer exercises for the mat. So we're going to hold onto that shin and go for the other side. So we find that C curve, and you might find one side feels a bit more challenging or more awkward than the other side. Sometimes that happens. Can be a little bit imbalanced. So coming up here, find that scoop up and over, and then lift. 2 more. Down through the center. And up. Good, last one before that final lift. So we take it back, keep squeezing the ball to help with resistance. Because that resistance can really help you find some inner strength as you come up all the way. And then the final little reach, you take the ball out, you're going to stretch the leg if you can, reach the ball up, see if you can touch the foot to the ball, and then place it all the way down. Well done. Now, we're going to go into our, what we call our front support and then our elephant. So again, we're going to bring the ball between the ankles. So this is where you would come onto the reformer and you would imagine that your hands are on the bar and your feet are get back against the paddles. Don't worry if you don't know what I mean, because it makes sense on the mat, don't worry. So let's first of all come into our front support. So we're going to lift our hips up and then we're going to find a plank position. So we're going to come all the way down, and you might need to adjust your feet slightly. And now this is going to be a little rock forwards and back. So we're going to shift the weight forwards as if we're going over the bar, and then shift back. Shift forwards, shift back. And you're trying to keep this long line of your plank position. We've got 3, we've got 2, we've got 1, and then lift your hips all the way up. And then you're going to see if you can flatten your feet. So if that means you bring your feet in much closer, then that's completely fine, because this is different to a downward facing dog. We call this the elephant on the reformer. So you're going to have your heels flat, and if that means that your back is more rounded, then that's okay for the principle of this exercise. And we're just going to lift the heels and lower the heels. So maybe to get your heels flat, you need to bend your knees and round your back a bit more. That's completely fine for this exercise. And then we lift and lower the heels. Squeezing that ball between the ankles. Well done. So it's like you're almost trying to tuck the tail so you can get this more of a rounded stretch through your back as you work the ankles there. Really good. Last one. Gorgeous. And then just bring the knees down. And we're going to come into our pulling ropes. So we're going to come down and you're going to bring your breastbone onto that ball, okay? So again, if anything doesn't feel comfortable with the ball, you can do it without. So we're going to bring the breastbone down onto the ball. And you're going to let your arms just hang out to the side. So this would be that we're on the long box and we're over the edge of the reformer. And we're holding onto the straps, so imaginary straps of your hands. And you're going to pull them back as you lift your breastbone up. So it's so good for your posture and your back muscles. And then you're going to come back down and let the arms just hang to the side. And then again, pull the ropes back. And reach over. So I like to inhale to come up and exhale to come down. And inhale to come up and exhale to come down. 2 more if you can. It's like you're trying to shine the ball forwards of you, the breastbone forwards of you. Now on this last one, you're going to hold it up and we're going to do some T arms. So you just hold it there, a little bit of abdominal connection, and then the T arms. So you just go out, and in, keeping the back extended up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, reach back, 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 and then relax down. Good, and then just push yourself up. So after all that lovely back work, you might just want to take a child's pose. And it's quite nice to just let your head just rest onto the ball. And you can separate the knees a little bit and just round your lower back to counteract that back bending. It feels really nice. Good. And then we're going to come to chest expansion. So coming up to a high kneeling position. And you're going to hold the ball behind your back. So it's like you were, again, holding the straps behind your back here. Your knees are down, your hips are pushing forwards. And we're going to lift the chest. This is similar to the exercise we just did on the front. But in kneeling, you're going to reach the ball back behind you. And then back towards your legs. It's quite extreme on the shoulders. So you're going to inhale and exhale. Good. Inhale and exhale. So I'll show you from the front as well. It's that back rowing, reaching back. Good. Gazing out. And if you were on the reformer here, you would be moving your carriage, it's like a moving little carriage, forwards and back. And then we're going to hold the arms back and just take tiny little extra presses for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring the ball back to your legs. Good, give your shoulders a little roll. And then we're going to do what we call our front splits. So last thing on each leg. Don't worry, we won't go into the full splits or anything, but we're going to do our front splits. So we're going to come into a nice long low lunge. So just bring one leg forwards, one leg back. You don't need the ball for this one. And you're going to see if you can just come into this kind of runner's lunge position. And then you want to get both hips as level as you can. And then we're going to start to straighten this front leg. So keeping your spine as long and lengthened as you can. You're pulling that right hip right back. And then back into that long lunge. Nice. So you can be on your finger pads, you could be on your fists. And you're just going to start to pull that right hip back, trying to keep the spine as long as you can. And then back into that lunge. One more time. So it's like you're drawing this right hip right back and the left hip forwards. And if you were on the reformer machine, your back leg would be on this kind of moving carriage and your front foot would be on the bar or the platform. So you could really start to kind of slide the feet away. So make sure you're taking care of yourself, but if you do want to slide your feet a bit further away, then you can. Only if you feel safe and comfortable. Maybe not super comfortable, but not in pain or anything. So let's change over to the other leg. So you can just bring the back knee down and then switch. So left foot forwards, again, maybe finger pads. And then you're going to bring the back knee up. So you're in that long runner's lunge. And you're pulling that left hip back. And then we just start to straighten without rounding the back. See if you can keep the back long and then down. And then again, pulling back. And down. So you keep these nice active stretches. And then hold this last one. And so imagine that the the feet could move away from each other. You could start to slide them away, only if you feel comfortable and ready. Keeping the hips really facing down. And then just bending in again, slide them back in, and then bring the back knee down. And then just come back with that leg. Good. So just take your ball, come to stand with your legs in a nice straddle. Lifting tall through the posture, make sure the knees are soft. And then imagine your ball is weighted as it starts to just roll down to touch the floor. And then roll it up. So just checking back in. Now you're at the end of your sequence to see if you've noticed a little bit of a shift. And coming up. Gorgeous, and we'll do one more. Just smoothly rolling over the legs there. Curving over towards that ball, and you can just leave it there this time as you restack all the way up. Good. Just bring the legs together. Take one final deep breath in and out. Good. And you are all done, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that session. That's the first reformer to mat style class that we have done here on YouTube. But if you want to check out some more, then make sure you head over to our virtual studio where we have some more of this style of class. I'll see you on the mat again soon. Bye.